Hello coders, in today's video we are going to solve Leetcode 1661th problem, average time of process per machine. Here we have only one table called activity with 4 columns: machine ID, process ID, activity type and timestamp. Here the machine ID, process ID and activity type is the primary key. They are a combination of unique values. So the machine ID, process ID and the activity type are primary key. Okay. The machine ID is the ID of the machine. Process ID is the ID of the process running on the machine with machine ID. Okay. The activity type is the enum category of type start and end. Okay. The activity type can either be start or end, not anything beyond that. The timestamp is a float representing the current time in seconds. Okay. The timestamp stores the time. Start means the machine starts and the process at a given time, and end means the machine ends the process at a given timestamp. We have a machine, it will have multiple number of processes. The starting time of the process is denoted as start and the ending time of the same process is denoted as end. Okay, that's the thing given here. The start timestamp will always be before the end timestamp. It is guaranteed that each machine ID and process ID pair has the start and the end timestamp. Okay, if there is a machine ID and a process ID, it will definitely have a start and an end time. That is a given. Okay, what is the question? There is a factory website that has several machines, each running the same number of processes. Write a solution to find the average time each machine takes to complete the process. They have asked for the average time each machine takes to complete the process. The time to complete a process is the end timestamp minus the start timestamp. Okay, you know that you have a machine, you have a process ID. A machine can have multiple processes. Let's say for machine 1, we have take the process number 1. The process number 1 starts at 0th second and ends at 10 seconds. How much seconds the process took? How we will find? You can find it by taking the end time. Like the end time of the process is 10 seconds. So 10 minus 0 is equal to 10. So the process ID 1 of the machine 1 took 10 seconds to complete it. That's the question. That's the thing we are going to find here. Write the average time calculated by the total time to complete every process in a machine divided by the number of processes that we run. The resulting table should have the machine ID along with the average time as processing time, which should be rounded up to the decimal places. This is very important to generate the output. They have asked for the machine ID. You will have only 2 columns. One column is machine ID and another column is processing time. These 2 columns are to be outputted. Okay. How we will calculate the processing time? You will take the average time of all the processes. First, you will calculate the processing time of each process. Then you will calculate the average time of all the process. And then you will round it off to 3 decimal places. That is given here. Let me explain with this example so that it will be very clear for you. Let's break down the question into 2 steps. First, what you will calculate now? For each process ID, you will calculate the processing time. For example, for the machine ID 0, you have 2 processes, 0 and 1. You will know the start timing and the end timing. So, to calculate the processing time, what you will do? You will minus the start time from the end time. So, you will get the processing time of each processes from each machines. That's the first step. After calculating the processing time of each processes, what you will do is you will calculate the average time taken by all the process of each machines. That is, for machine ID 0, you have 2 processes, 0 and 1. In the next step, what you will do is you will calculate the average value of the process 0 and 1 of the machine ID 0. So you will get only one value corresponding to the machine ID 0. For machine ID 0, the average value of average processing time of process 0 and process 1 will be calculated. I hope the question is very clear. Let's try to write the code. First, let's write the intermediate level problem. That is only finding the what? Finding the processing time of each process of the table. First, let's select. Let me write the column names as first you take all the column. Machine ID, process ID, machine ID, process ID, and wait. First, let's join the table and then we can specify these things. What are the columns? First, we will join the table. For that, from activity is the table name. Activity A, join activity B on A dot. What you are going to, on the first step, you are going to find the processing time of each process. So if you want to find the processing time of the process ID 0, the process ID are same as well as the machine ID are same. So the A dot process ID is equal to B dot process ID, and A dot machine ID is equal to B dot machine ID. Okay, you are always going to take same machine ID, same process ID to calculate the processing time. So that's why we have written it like this. After that, the A dot activity type is start. So you have to keep it as start, and B dot activity type equal to end. Okay, you got it. Okay, you know that whatever the value that you take from the B allies of a table, that are end values. Whatever you take as A allies of the table are start values. So you will take the A dot machine ID, A dot process ID, and then what will you? B dot end value time stamp minus A dot timestamp. A dot times B dot timestamp minus A dot timestamp. As, let's keep it as processing time, like processing time. Okay, you know that to perform subtraction, always the A value should be lesser. So what you will write? A dot timestamp is less than B dot timestamp. Let's try to run this intermediate code. Okay, the answer is wrong, but we have generated up to the intermediate. What we have generated is here is we have calculated the processing time of each processes. Like the processes of the machine ID 0 is 0 and 1. For the process ID 0 and 1 of machine 0, the process is calculated. The processing time is calculated. So what we have to, from this, we have to break it down to, we don't want this process ID column. So we will take it out and we will group by the machine ID. We will group by the machine ID. We will calculate the average values of these two process IDs, processing time. And then we will round the value up to 3 decimal places. We can change it accordingly. We don't want this process ID column, so remove it. For the b dot timestamp, we want the average value. Average value. You can't directly calculate the average value, so you have to group it. Group by machine ID. Okay. First, you will group by machine ID. Machine ID. After you group by machine ID, you will no longer have 2 zeros, 2 ones, or 2 twos. You will have only 1 0, like here, 0 1 2. After you group in this, to calculate the processing time, you're taking the average of the processing time of each process of the machine. So the machine ID 0 has 2 process 0 and 1. After grouping it, you will have machine ID and the average value of the processing time of each process in the machine. So you are grouping it with the machine ID. Then you will take the average value. After taking average value, you will also get this many decimal places. So round it off. Round it off up to 3 decimal places. Okay. You will take the machine ID and the round off value of each processes of the machine up to 3 decimal places. Let's try to run the code. The question is accepted. Let's try to submit it. It is accepted. So this is you have to run the code. You have to break the problems. You have to solve it step by step. You can't all the way solve it from the beginning. So you have to break the problem and solve it step by step. Thank you for watching.